Um, I'm Willow. This was a workshop on spherical spinning and body bouncing, two unrelated technically subjects, but related for me personally because I really like sensation-based spinning. My purpose of spinning spherically is to try flow without tech conventions. I love tech conventions and frameworks that involve like grid patterns and stuff. And there's also kinds of flow that are just like sensation-based. So that's my style of spherical spinning. To start, I showed this weave, which is kind of like this backwards, I guess people call it a 1.5 beat weave, and it's like that hand to hand, and it's swayed back and forth a lot. This is really nice because you can fall into it from anything, and you can really use it to get into most timing and directions. Yeah, and then we started talking about touches, which was a lot of the focus of the workshop. Touches are this. It's kind of the first basic touch is doing that same weave, but kind of down at the tethers, letting the tethers meet. So this is the first touch weave that we covered. The reason they're called touches is because they're not technically tangles. Just real fast, that's the shape that you're going for. It's kind of three-dimensional, and they kind of like, that's the apex of it. This point right here, which is not technically a tangle. Anything past it would be considered a tangle. So that's a tangle, 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 tangle up into that point. And then from this point onward to here and all that stuff is non-tangle. So with touches, you're playing with these portions of tethers meeting from here to here. And with tangles, you're playing with these portions from here to here. Okay. So with touches, we talked about how to get into them, how you use this pendulum, bending it, and then striking up on the tether with the other tether. With this first basic touch, you can add a lot of variation and separate your arms, make it really huge, and it almost feels and looks like an entirely different thing. You can do it really fast and it feels and looks like an entirely different thing. You can also isolate it, which just gets all kinds of funky. And that's another sort of line of reasoning because that gets into the hand path, which is spherical as well. Okay, and then there's the different kinds of touches. So that's the first basic one. There's ones with sort of more degrees of twist. This is kind of like a 5-beat-ish sort of move. It's not a 5-beat, it's 5-beat-ish though. I like this because you can meet the heads close together and then move that connection point down close to your hand. And it's a really nice sensation. Have it coming back towards you. There's like forward versions of touches as well. This one. This one. So those are the 4 standard like touch weaves. And then I sort of talked about this sensation-based style of spinning where a toroid, which is just a spherical shape moving through space, or by a larger like mathematical convention, a donut shape. If you take that sphere moving through space, that's how I like to flow with spherical spinning. I will say goodbye to planes and kind of just move around in space. And we talked about this move as well, which is just a simple tangle and bounce, and how you can move with it, sort of take that moving toroid through your body. You can even trace it over. There's all kinds of weird traces you can do with it. Yeah, and then what else did we talk about? The really important aspect of spherical spinning of this pendulum and how it's very dense transition state. So when you go into a pendulum, you can use it to fall 90 degrees away on another vertical plane, or you can pull it from a vertical plane directly into a floor plane. So in that moment, you can choose floor plane or vertical plane. You can do either. Or you can take it straight into isolations. It can be a point for anything. So using that in these touch patterns is really important, especially for starting to incorporate touches into tangles. You can be doing touches, fall directly into tangles, and out of them again. And at any point that you're in a tangle, you can just weave directly into a touch, and vice versa. Okay, and then we started covering body bouncing a little bit, which is a different subject. But the first thing we looked at is how to double bounce like this. That's just a slow hand movement from one side to the other while the boy does a double bounce. First pattern with that we looked at is this really nice, slow and flowy one. Just to drill in it, doing it on both hands. And we mentioned also how you can do this double bounce on the back. Looked at moves like this really straightforward, simple one. You just boop, boop, boop. And we looked at like this double bounce here, noticing that any double bounce that you do as you're moving with poi on the floor plane, any double bounce you do will switch which hand you're leading. There's only 2 timings with this stuff, left hand leading and right hand leading. And any double bounce you do will switch which one is leading. Which else did we look at? We looked at applying like double bounces to Supermans. For example, this, just take a standard Superman and add double bounces into it. It's really fun to incorporate with 3-poi stuff. And I think that was it. We did a couple more body bouncing things that I can't remember.
The hand thing with the...
Yes, this was one of them. That bounce point. There's a lot of others actually. There's like these shoulder ones. Let's see, there's that one there. There's a lot of interesting elbow stuff too. Throwing all of them together is really fun because you end up with you can end up with extra degrees of twist, like that. Just a really weird point. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.